Hi, welcome to Everything Embedded. In this video, I want to talk about uh, parallel ports, printers, MS-DOS, how and also PCL, printer command language, and how do these things combine and why am I even talking about these things in this video. Well, I mean, as you can see on the screen, there used to be a very old software back in the 90s called as Bannermania, which I must have used during my college days. So I thought maybe what if I want to use this software now? I mean, it allowed you to print something. It allowed you to print the banners which you could use for displays really. So I thought maybe okay. So times have changed. Of course, I don't have printer anymore. Neither do I have MS DOS. But this is running in a virtual machine on FreeDOS. I don't have access to a dot matrix printer or any other things like that, like the old technologies. But I thought maybe can I try something so that instead of trying to print on a paper, what if I want to capture the output in a PDF file? Can it be done with a software that was written in 1989? So I thought this video is going to be about that. Maybe it will be of some interest to you, and maybe it will be helpful technically as to how things work or how they used to work. And especially this software was written when there were no PDF files. So there was no Word. I think in those days it was either WordStar, WordPerfect, or those kind of softwares which were very popular. So there were no PDF files either. So let's see what this software is all about really. So I am running a virtual machine, FreeDOS, and I've just started this application, this program called as Bannermania, and it asks me to press a key. Okay, so let's see that. So yeah, so you can create a new banner, load some ready-made banners, and go to print menu and choose a printer. So if I go to choose a printer, so I've already chosen HP DeskJet. Of course, I don't have HP DeskJet, but that's the best resolution which I could get of 300 dpi. So this program allows you to print the banners whatever you want to the selected printers only. So it has a list of printers, as you can see. And of course, as I said, since there were no PDF files, so there is no output to PDF or output to anything like that. So all of them are actually physical printer which this application required. So I selected the best one which I could, which is HP DeskJet. That's what I did. And what if I say create a new banner? But let's see what this application is all about and why am I so fussed about it. So let's create a new banner. Should it be single line, multiple lines? Okay, so let's go for the simplest one, single line, and I'll just say hello. And there are various fonts here. So time, script font, thin, whimsical, Zurich. So let's choose the default Metro. And plain. Lots of other options, effects, whatever you want to choose. That's the reason this program was very popular back in the 90s. You could do a lot of stuff with it. So just select plain, and what should be the shade? Allows you to select different shades as well. So let's go with the default one. Back, and what is the perspective which you want? So maybe I can choose this one. Depends on whether you are making what type of banner you are making. So yeah, so these are the options which are available in this program. So I'll go back, and there is a choice of ready-made banners as well. I think now you will get the picture of why what was the main purpose of this application. So you could print something on a piece of paper and put it outside your shop, or if you had a party, or if some events. I remember during my college days, my computer institute used to print banners from using this application. if they had any events or any functions, and just stick it around on the walls. So yeah, so it was a very useful program back then, but of course I have not used it for almost 20 years now. So yeah, so maybe this one, class of 1990, I don't know, we can just say okay, I want to use one, so say yes. So if I go to print menu, now what I have done is, since this is running inside a virtual machine, you can go to the settings menu. Make sure to watch my previous videos on virtualization and virtual machines, so you will get an idea of what I am talking about here. So there is an option to add a parallel port, a virtual parallel port I should add. So if you go to virtual parallel port, and you can select that the output should go to a file. So I'll say I want, just give the name of any file. So I've selected printer.pcl, it could be anything, and say replace and connect the parallel port. Now what is a parallel port? Well, I mean, if the simplest thing is, if you go to Wikipedia, this is what the ports used to look like back then for connecting printers. There was no USB either back then, so this is how printer used to connect to your computers, on a parallel port. You can read about it in the Wikipedia article, more on that. And yeah, so that's what I have done. I've added a parallel port, but since of course I don't have a computer and this is a virtual machine, the output should go to a file, and that is what we'll do. We'll capture the output to a file. We will take that file, which will have PCL commands, because printers, HP DeskJet or HP LaserJet or those kind of printers, they only understand the language PCL, which is printer control language. I hope I'm not sounding that confusing, but let's go to the HP website. So it should tell you more on that. This is what this PCL stands for. HP is printer command language. So each time when you give a print command to your printer, it uses a special language which is designed for the printer. It's called as printer command language, where it has the control codes for the printer. Say if you want to print something in bold, the printer has to be told. So there needs to be a code along with the actual data. So it will make the font bold, or it will make it underline and those kind of things. So you can go to HP's website and read more about the PCL commands as well. So it should tell you what are the control codes, various codes available, escape command sequences and everything. So you can read the entire PDF file, or I mean the entire printer command language in detail. How pages are printed, what are the special character codes and other things which are necessary. So that's what it is. So this is what we are planning to do. We will print from a 30-year-old application into a file, a PCL file, and then we will use another application which can read that PCL file and output to a PDF. So for that purpose, there is a company called as GhostScript. Now they make free software, so they have their own library, which they also offer the source code as well, which can read these PCL files, complex PCL files I should add, and then create a PDF file out of it. So should be useful. Let's see if it works in actual action. So what I'll do is I'll go to Bannermania, since I've created a banner. So I can say print banner in one color. I've already added a parallel port to my virtual machine. I'll say yes, okay. And I'm going to create a PCL file here. So this is where a PCL file should be created, and us. So it's printing. It takes time, and it should output it to this PCL file. So this takes time. Let me Yeah. So yeah, so it should take time, and I think you should definitely try this out. This Bannermania, if you have not used it. More, even if you don't want to print anything. So as I'm going to display, as I'm about to demonstrate, this can be outputted to a PDF file, which we will see. But then you can also use this software for demonstration purposes. Back then it was also used for demos. So if you are an institute or if you're a small company, you could just type something from there and then it could keep on displaying throughout the day. So there was no need to write any complex software or use any additional applications for that purposes. So can be useful. And anyway, I was interested in how can I use a very old application back when there were no USBs, no PDFs. What if I want to capture the output to a PDF file? So that was what this exercise was all about. And we'll find out soon if it works or not. So it's about 50% complete. It's printing. But as I said, the printing is being outputted to a PCL file. We'll see in a minute what this PCL file is all about and what it actually looks like. I'll open that in editor once the printing is complete from here. So what else options are there? And meanwhile, while this is printing, what I've done is, so since it is going on in the background, we can talk about Ghost script. So what I did was I downloaded a small application which uses the Ghost script library and allows me to take a PCL file and output it to a PDF. Sorry, I've already downloaded that as well. I'm running it on a Mac, and that application is called as Mac PCL to PDF application. So I've already downloaded that application, but we'll go step by step and hopefully this should be clear what we are talking about here. So I'll also explain that in a diagram as to what is being done here, if it is too complex or too confusing what I'm talking about here. So all I'm trying to do is use a very old application which does not know anything about PDFs or the modern day printers or anything like that, and output the contents from that application and save it in a modern PDF file which can be used on a Mac. So let's see. So printing is 98% complete. Okay, so it has done the printing, and as you can see, I'll zoom into this as well. It has created a file called printer.pcl which is 2.7 megabytes in size. So it has printed something. I'll open that in a text editor. Let me open this PCL file. I'll say open this text edit. So yeah, as you can see, it's a file with a lot of control codes and the data and some commands in between. So of course you need to know the PCL language in order to understand what is inside this file. So it is a mixture of data and the control codes. So there are escape codes and the actual data. So well, it's time to make something use. Let's make some use of this. So yeah, I'll close this. I will launch the PCL to PDF application. Select the PCL file which I have just created. Say choose, and it has created a PDF file by the same name called printer.pdf. So let me minimize this window. Close this. Let's open the newly created PDF. As you can see, we have the output here. So you can see it has created a nicely formatted PDF, the output which came from Bannermania, class of 1990, as you can see. And I'll just zoom into that. Yeah, here it is. everything is here. What if you want to output it in color? Will that output in color? Let's see. So we selected a different printer. Let's go back to the virtual machine. Let's delete all these files. Let's go back to the virtual machine settings, to the parallel port, and save the file. And what we'll do here is, in Bannermania, we'll go to choose printer, but this time let's select a color printer. So can we select a color printer? Is there a color printer which we can use? So there is a color printer called as HP Paint Jet 180 dots per inch color. I don't know, I've not tried it. Let's try it out, see if we can get some output in color. So let's say HP Paint Jet, and yeah, LPT1, and yeah, let's just go with the default one. Or maybe, I don't know, there is an option called as banner paper, no page breaks. Let's select this and see what happens. Yeah, and go to print menu, print banners. So it's printing something. Okay, the printing has finished. File has been created of around 96 kilobytes. Seems to be a very small file. But let's start the Go script and see if we get anything. I'll select this printer PCL file again, and it has created a PDF. Is there anything in the PDF? Yes, here it is. So it has created something in the PDF file, and maybe, yeah, here it is. So perhaps you can try it out to see the output here. But yeah, I mean, this should be a good enough start with. You can experiment further, you can write your own custom scripts and other things. Hopefully this should be useful really, and this is what I was trying to talk about in this video. How to use, what is parallel ports, what is HP's PCL language, and so using a combination of virtual parallel ports and an application which can convert PCL to PDF, we can definitely use a very old application and output it to a PDF file. So just in case if you have any such old software lying around, as I had, you can definitely use them even today. I know this does not, it's not a practical thing, but hopefully this should be helpful to you technically. I mean, it can be of some use. I hope it is of some use. So thank you very much for watching this video. I'll see you shortly in the next one. Cheers. Bye-bye.